Okay, so I'm gonna record this live. Hopefully, it will upload. I tried doing this video several times. There seems to be difficulties with uploading, so we're gonna try to do this live. As you can see by the title, After Court Money. Those that have been following my case and watching the video that I did maybe about I almost want to say a year ago, which is titled In Depth Money Interview, which you guys can find on my channel. And after this video is uploaded, when I get back to the house on my laptop, I will link that video down in the description below for people who stumble onto this video can watch that one to know what's going on. And this is after, so where I am now, with everything. Um, so we're going to get into it. I'm going to try to take my time as possible, try to get certain things out there, as in how things played out, where it doesn't seem everywhere. Um, so I want to start. Let's start with the previous months before July 11th, which was my last court date. During those previous months that was going into July 11th, I really, there was not much for me else to do. Everything was done as it could be. There wasn't anything else to do. I knew that I had it in the bag. I knew that there wouldn't be much to worry about. But health got into the way where I started finding myself, and maybe I got myself a bit too paranoid. Maybe I got myself a bit too paranoid. I don't know. I found myself with my health. One, my diabetes got so out of control. I do have heart problems. I felt those, my body was just breaking down. And I started finding myself around hospitals and pharmacies. I really felt those death was knocking at my door. Like, okay, it was time for me to go. And I was accepting of that. I was accepting of that. I was accepting of that. So July 11th came, dressed properly. Here's a tip. You want to dress proper for court. You want to dress accordingly and proper for court, because that goes to show that you have a sense of class and manners, and that you're here to get your business done. A lot of people don't do that, and they wonder why their court takes forever and why the judge is a bit strict on you or does what he does. With me, I always dress proper for court. I don't dress bummy B bitches. I'm gonna go ahead and say bunch of bummy bitches, bunch of bummy hood rats. Call it for what it is. I always got my business done. Everything came out of pocket to where I'm about the only one who had anything done in court. So I'm half Italian, so that goes in with me wanting to not just get the business done, but be proper about it in terms of how you look and presenting. So there's that. So the only one that showed up, the two people who didn't show up, of course, are my folks who did put me into this position in the first place. Who did put me into that position? Call for what it is. They put me in that position. To where the court asked for them. They had papers ready to arrest them due to my choosing if they were not working. Well, doing what they did when you don't work the court's going to give you a choice. And that's what they did. My father, who was not really my father, the court gave him a main choice. Either you do 35 years without no parole, which would for him would be a life sentence, or you go out there and find some work, and which would have to be reported to show that he is working. So he decided to go out there and find some work. Now, same thing with my mother, who was an accomplice. They were going to give her 25 years. Same thing. You do 25 years for your prison time, which is pretty much a life sentence anyways. Or you go find some work, which they did. So all this had to be not reported and signed. Well, the papers were signed pre ahead of time for them to get locked up in case they weren't going to work. And yeah, I did have my signature on there for them to get locked up. Because what they did, again, when I link the video down in the description below, you'll see when you listen to everything why it's considered prison time. And I got a big, this Gatorade bottle's like this wide, but picture paper a little bit more wide, and then a little bit more stacked. Those were my records throughout so many years that were never expunged, that slipped through the cracks in the systems, why I was always on watch with the law, why cops were always patrolling where I stay at, why I was always being stopped and questioned, because I was always a person of interest for a lot of different things. And what I can say is that, they did mess up on their part. And when the judge finally seen that, I said, oh, we messed up. So I went down to the other office to get it fully expunged. It didn't cost me anything. Usually when you want your full record expunged, you're gonna look at around, depending on what you want expunged, around $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 range, not to mention prices and lawyer fees. Well, because there was so much of a mess up, I didn't have to do that, so it happened right there to where so much has got expunged. If I tried to, trying to put myself in for insurance or whatever and giving my social security number, nothing's really gonna. Nothing certain things are gonna show up, obviously, but a lot of things just wouldn't show up. So they practically raised it more than they did, to where I'm practically I don't even exist, I'm invisible to now, not just the system, but to the world. Which then I'm happy about, because that gave me a brand new relief, refreshed, to where that gave me a new start in life, to where, yeah, I'm playing catch up. Got my paper in hand. Just say, I'm free. During that, yes, I had to settle for less. I had to settle for nigga pennies, call it for what it is, which is $400 a month. Okay, that might be, $400 a month, but I'm not stupid. I'm very intelligent, very smart, because they redid a lot of testing on me, and it goes, with stuff that shows up, with my testing, in terms of IQ, my intelligence, my smarts, knowledge of things go well beyond a university student. And I'm not irresponsible like my folks were, to which leads me into this middle part with the irresponsibilities things. That's kind of like a brief recap with what happened to where it is now with the relationship with them. Again, they were irresponsible. You can be married. Actually, let me remind you, they didn't get married till I was almost 3 years old. When I was born ill, and there was money left to me. Everything was in $2 bills. I forget exactly how much was left, but it was supposed to go towards me of getting the proper help that I needed as a baby at that time, right? It didn't happen. So they took that money, spent it on shit, mainly then a lot of it was spent on heavy alcohol and drugs while I was in the hospital for like a good long time. Um, Going beyond, I got sick again, and then at the age of 6, I had to miss a whole year of school. Again, money was still left to me rather than it going towards what needed to go towards. They spent it. Um, Military benefits that he brought in to where, to where his service was 25 years plus since the 70s through the 90s. There was still a lot of military benefits there to where I could have got decent schooling. I actually could have probably been a baseball player or a history teacher to have a really good job. Because, if I were to pick what I wanted to do in life, it would be a history teacher because I really like history. I like real history, not that BS history that they teach in books. And I really like baseball. So I could have been baseball. I could have actually been to college or, university. I could have got the proper health that I needed. But they didn't care. Either did he. Why it leads to me, yes, I'm blind in one eye. I'm not sure if I'm type 3 diabetic because I can't even get in without insurance. I can't get what I need for my heart because I do have a bad heart. I do have a hard time breathing. I used to have a machine, but they threw that out because they didn't want me to have it. Especially, when I was working a little bit, at the TRC plant, people who have disabled disabilities. And here's a tip again, if you have a child, that's in school who's not disabled, or if you do have a child that is disabled and they are bringing in some source of income, you cannot be charging them rent. It is actually illegal and against the law because not only are you taking from somebody that's disabled and taken advantage of, or a child that's still considered a minor, but you're also labeling yourself as a landlord when you're not licensed, and that is against the law because you are impersonating somebody. A landlord is up there with a car dealership person that's above a lawyer. Do your research; they really are. So you're impersonating somebody of law, pretty much, or of the state, of that city, to where I was being charged rent by a non-landlord who was my father, who was writing notebook paper receipts to show to fucking human services office, and the human service office been letting people do that for years, to where I wasn't seeing any of my money. Even when I got on SSI, I still wasn't seeing it because they had me lie, manipulate, to use me in order to gain almost $1,000 every month to more. That put my health in jeopardy. I found myself in and out of the hospitals a lot, to where a lot of appointments were being canceled. Heaven forbid if I got the medical treatment that I needed. And they got questions, when mom came, they questioned her, for God's sakes, well, why are all these being canceled? And, I was paying for a lot going into rent to own stores like Aaron's. We're talking things in the high thousands and up. We're talking high class price phones that came out just about every year. Why I had to settle for the crappy shit. High price computers, high price fancy TVs, couches. From 2008 till the year 2017, I was paying for 10 cars in total. A lot of the cars are now not there. They got sold off. They didn't want to get in trouble. $25,000 from the state, from the house, which was time to me because the house needed to be brought up in order, and it's not. Almost getting quarantined because it's not up to date. Well, they took that money, decided to, rather than put it what needs to be put towards, they took the money, cashed it, bought guns, cars again, phones, I remember when I had a tooth infection and I have to take meds in order for that infection not to get to my heart, to my bloodstream like that. $12,000 from the human service office for me to get the operation to get my tooth pulled to cover everything. They took that. Or even the house I was paying for, and they would stay gone from 10 o'clock in the morning when the bank opens to like 10, 11 o'clock at night, rubbing things in my face, saying, "Look what we bought. Oh no, 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 come and see." Then they would take out money, start counting out in front of me how much they had. Or again, that reminds you which was my money to begin with. And they felt, and even documents said in court, they felt like I never deserved that money, and that they felt like that was theirs. Most of that came from my so-called father, who's not my father, who believed that I owed him when I didn't. You know, you can be married and still be an absentee father in your child's life. That's real. And to which leads now, once I got my rights, my money handed over to me, because they showed how irresponsible they were. Because when it came to the house being saved and bills that needed to be paid, guess who they turned to? They turned to me, which they ended up taking money. They, like I said, they tricked me into signing papers. One of them that they said it's that time for you to sign these papers again so you can get paid, and it wasn't. Come to find out, these papers they had made up for the checks could be in their name and for the checks and go into their account. And then come to find out, I never had an account to begin with, and everything just added up because a lot of stuff just bought in my names, to which got me in trouble, not just with the IRS, but also with Vice. It got me in trouble, and I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know. To where now, which is after, like I said, things are getting paid. I'm getting a new phone next month. So where I am now, well, let me start with the relate. Now that's just a brief recap. I know it felt a little bit long, but it was a recap as much as I can do, to which leads me into my relationship with them now is like an FU type of moment, to where now, they're mad because they have to work. Again, my father tried to manipulate his job with a fake injury, calling it for what it was, till he decided to hurt himself to try to get money from him. And since he's so lazy, they said, well, since you just want to be lazy and sit down a lot, we're going to sit you down at a computer desk job at the work that you tried to manipulate and sue. Mother, she has a factory job. Again, they're mad because now they have to actually get jobs and work rather than living off me. They can't pay me back. There's no money there to be paid back. I don't have an account because after what happened, I just don't trust banks, in which I will get into that after this. To where not only are they now working, but they like to complain now because they no longer can do what they want to be able to do, which is now stay at home a lot, live off me, buy things, rub things in my face, to where they say, you don't do anything around here, you need to get a job. Well, they're just mad because now they're not getting any more money coming in. They're no longer be able to buy the things that they want to buy anymore because of what happened. To where in the end, I ended up winning the house. I'm not going to keep the house because of, again, what I filled in earlier. So it will be sold to the state and will be boarded up. I will be selling the vehicles that are left. I will be getting a lot of the things in order from which will be sold and thrown out. Um, of course, I can't throw out the paperwork. No, everything that shows from bills that were being paid to the account number, to the money that was being brought in, those have to be put away, of course. So I know what I'm going to be doing in terms of that. So when I get ready to sell the house, they have to leave. They can't stay. Though that's one of the things that were signed. It agreed as well, to where now I'm able to do business how I want to do, be able to move how I want to move and make as much money now as I want to make because didn't I haven't had a job since 2008 and haven't worked since 2010. From 2011 to 2018, that's how much I never worked. Which leads me into now, first I help with a business, a clothing business. So that's one. Not working, but help run it. Um, Artist deal with another shop that sells music. Also selling music. Also help manage now. I'm going to be helping manage a salad business soon. Hopefully a t-shirt business as well as promotion. Going to be looking into that, which I'm already helping with one of the salad parts, but we'll have to get more farther into that once this person gets a bit, get into a job that they're going to be doing to kind of help as well on their part. Like, it's their business, but they want me to come in and help. So I'm going to do it from the ground up. You're not going to get business all the time, and so sometimes you do have to get a job in order to help your side business. But there's that. I do help manage Stephanie with her acting career. She will be back here in America next year. We've been together for 4 years. She's acting, so I help with that because in that line of work, you have to pay whatever production company is going to be doing the movie. So you got to really pay them, just like over here in the U.S. A lot of people that you see on the movies, you have to pay the company. They have to pay them in order to get into the movies. That's after they make it, after the auditions. So not only paying the production company, but you're paying the producers and the directors. And believe it or not, you may think they're getting paid, but the truth is they're not getting paid because there's actors out here, just like musicians, go years and decades without seeing a paycheck from their work that they do. So don't let a lot that you see really fool you. A lot of stuff that comes with what they have comes from the company out of their pay that they should have got, not just from the front pay of being in the movie, but the back pay after it's done. We're talking ticket sales from theaters. That's considered proceed sales, and then DVD, Blu-ray, physical sales, and downloading, streaming sales as well. So, a lot of that money that you think they would see, they won't see. They do see some money, but not most of it because there's a separate account for them, and then there's like the main account that's really should be theirs, but it's the companies with the actors' money. So that's why every time you hear about an actor or a musician that dies, how much they're worth, which that's their life policy. And then you always hear about how much in debt they're in. That's because of the company, because they're spending the workers' money and putting things into their name. So I help, manage that. The trailer Suicidal that you guys are seeing on the channel, that's Stephanie in it. She's in another role. I'm gonna see what I can do about getting her into I wanted to see if I could get her into some television here. Not movies, but television. Television, you do see some money in that more than you do being an actor in a movie. Gonna start her out as a Class C role character, and then move way up to Class A, which will take time. I help with the money side of manage her and her friend's clothing business over there. So there's money that comes in over there over in Nigeria, making way much money over there than over here in the U.S. And we'll be looking into a spot over in Lagos. Hopefully move there in the next upcoming 5 to 10 years, or just going back and forth handling business because I want not just to do the clothing over there, but to move music over there as well, and possibly have like a spot to stay at So there's that. Um, then there's YouTube. I'm wanting to get paid from YouTube. I really want, I got a lot of views, but I need more subscribers. So there's YouTube, and not a lot of people get to do what I get to do every day. A lot of people do have to wake up working 9 to 5. With me, I'm privileged enough to say, I actually can get to work how I want to work, be able to move how I want to move, to do business how I want to do business, be able to make the money that I do want to make. Yeah, there's a little bit underneath the table jobs that I do, scrape by with, and I do okay. I do better than I was before. I'm don't get me wrong, I still don't really feel, happy as much because, I do go through depression, bipolar depression, suicidal depression, mood swings, bipolar, and sometimes even get blackouts from it. I still go through that. That's genetics, sadly. Um, but not many people get to try to even do something with artwork anymore like I do. Not too many people get the privilege of wanting to do the paintings that I do to try to sell. Not too many people actually get to do the clothing thing how I do it. Not too many people get to be an artist to SoundCloud even though they're not paying anymore. Not too many people get to do YouTube like I get to do. Not too many people get to do business how I do, get to be able to make is what you want to make. Being able, yes, it's nice to have some nice things here and there, but and knowing some money. But it was like maybe a couple of days ago, I was walking, looking at throughout phone stores, and one of the people that worked at these phone stores used to work at a car dealership, used to see me walk everywhere, and he just got so excited just because I walked everywhere. He recognized me just from walking, like he was happy to see that. So it's little things like that, that make people happy, that make me enjoy things like that too, as you get older. Um, and that's where I am now, doing, a lot better. And why you have to be careful, it really goes and it really falls into why you need to be careful with who you trust, with who you do. It's really, it's really, it, it really is. You really do have to be careful, man, with who you trust, who you do business with, who you let into your circle, and it's really the closest ones and the people that are related to you that will hurt you the most. And why is the reason why you see no one with me anymore is because I distance myself from people like that weren't doing anything for me, that just wanted to use me to where I was fighting their fights. I always had to speak up for them. It's why I always really been by myself. Even when I was out, there's days where you do want to hang out with people, and there's days that you don't. The days when I just didn't want to be around anybody, they would run into me, and I just didn't want to be around them. I just didn't want to hang out like that. I did. There are things that people got from me, either from stole or that I gave. I looked out I looked out for a lot of folks, man, and not too many people really looked out for me. Not too many people really gave a shit. As much people I can really count on one hand who are considered my team is all on one hand, and that's I can literally say that all half of these 5 fingers, and they have proved themselves over and over and over again in terms of their loyalty. In terms of being partners, in terms of just being how we could just do business. Now, on the other hand, I barely have any little friends I talk to. I can only count really one at the most. That's about it. One, two at the most. on one hand. On the other hand, so that goes three. I'm gonna take back three. On the other hand, in terms of friends, somebody I can call a friend. So that's saying a lot. One, again, I'm still blocked by the state of Tennessee. I can never really get a license to drive because one, learning disabilities and me being blind in one eye. So I'm still considered an accident on the road at the end of the day for that. So, there's that. But, that's everything after court to where, as you guys can see, I'm able to do a lot more. And it was a long time, and to where now I just hate fighting because of it, because of everything is why now I just hate fighting, you know. And now I have to choose whether or not if I choose to fight or not, depending on what type of situation it is. Because now I am a quick paycheck to people. If I were to do something to someone, that's not just that's a lawsuit to where boom, quick money. Because to my folks, I was, with everything that has happened, even after how I'm still seen as a golden, green, money dollar sign, diamond symbol, a goose egg, a quick paycheck. To where I actually get to have my very first birthday coming up in November. Never had one because of the way I was brought up and the shit that I've been through. So I get to actually have my very first birthday, which I'll be 28 soon. So, not really too much else to say, but it goes to show again why it's just really why it's important to be careful. Now, before I forget, I prefer to pick up my money now at the office rather than having it go towards a bank or as an account because of what happened. Because it goes to show anybody now can go into your account, and the banks let it happen. And when banks let that happen, they'll let it go for so long until the law gets involved, and then all that money that was took is quickly spreaded to the employees as a quick bonus, to where the bank gets a payoff behind the scenes from the state. Yeah, the banks are that crooked. A good example is Boosie's brother. I don't listen to Boosie. I don't really give a fuck about dude. But his brother was stealing money out of his account. The bank let his brother get access to take money out of his account. So it goes to show a friend, a mother, father, sister, cousin, brother, aunt, uncle, grandparents, banks will let them go into your account. Banks will let them go into your account. I'm a good example, and Boosie's a good example of why really you can't trust banks with your money, because stuff like that happens. Because they will let anybody into your account. They don't care. They don't care. They don't. Because behind the scenes, once it gets caught up, the banks get a huge payoff behind all that. That's why I don't trust banks. Not even a fucking private account. It doesn't not a savings account, not a private account, not a checkings account, nothing. They're not safe. So, that's that part on that. To where that's about it. That's everything that's after. So I'm doing, better now than I was then, and I'm out. I can figure out how to do this.